Ring, 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 hello, simps and virgins.
Well done.
I would actually like to thank everyone about all the nice birthday wishes. That was really sweet and overwhelming. Also, welcome back to Krown's Magical Dancing Cake.
We are back, baby. We are fucking back. It's another Monday of new opportunities as we get ready for the trading week to go. Hey, what was all of that? Taking some time off over the weekend for this holiday season? Bullshit! No! We don't do that. Both. Anyways, we're back at it right now like a fucking crack addict, and we got plenty to talk about with all of the higher term timeframes for Bitcoin, especially considering that we are looking at the end of the month, the end of the bi-monthly, the end of the quarterly, the end of the 6 month, the end of the fucking annual dildos coming in just a few days here, as we do see the end of December is quite literally Friday. So just another, what is this, like 5 days left in the trading month to go, and all sorts of things are being set up for essentially Q1 of 2022, if that is proper. Yes, indeed it is. Okay, beautiful. So we're good over there. I want to welcome everyone back. I hope that everyone had a nice holiday season, no matter what holiday you were celebrating. But Merry Christmas. Oh shit, he said it. That's apparently very bad to say in America, but over here in Finland, people don't even know that any other holiday exists other than Christmas, so it's all good in the hood. Anyways, so yes, I think it is. What do we want to say over here? What is my order? What is my priorities right now as I pull up my notes over here? And yes, indeed. First and foremost, I want to say welcome to all the new people here. Holy shit, man! I see that there's already 1,000 people watching, and this is basically a holiday for most people, I do imagine. So hey, good on you, sirs and zers. 323 likes on the video as well, so massive thank you for that. I see that we got our full mod squad in here. Nikki Page, good morning to you. Philson, there he is. Willis, good morning to you as well. Who else do we have? No, I see Rocky G. I believe I see Rocky G. Mr. Gaylord, there he is. What's up, man? One of my most favorite names, although there is maybe a better name at this point as well, and it is Simp Virgin in the chat. Great name, great fucking name right there. And what's up, African Crypto Warlord? Much love to you and your brother, my friend. Man, your brother absolutely made Elsa's day yesterday. That was fucking amazing. There he is, Rocky G. I see you now. And do we see anyone else? No, I don't think so. Dad Rackets, what's up, man? Lawless Yak, a little bit of a difficult name to say right there with those two letters next to each other. Anyways, I think it's time for me to get on with it. Jack Frost, there he is. Damiola Kazim, good to meet you, man. I haven't seen you before, so it's always good to see some new faces. And I think we can now get into the Krown Chain application over here. Of course, can be found at app.krownchainy.net. There is a link in the description below. It's also 100% free as well. And what should Elsa show us? Yeah, there was a big face reveal yesterday. It's like, Elsa, show us your face. It's literally on the thumbnail from yesterday's video. And you can go to her Instagram at any moment in time. Yes, that was the other announcement that I wanted to make. Hey, look, there's some sort of impersonator impersonating me on Instagram, trying to trade people's accounts and DMing people to like download some sort of whatever the fuck. Look, it's not me. I can assure you it's not me. I'm not interested in doing any of that. I have my hands full trading my own accounts, and you know, I'm more than happy to be trolling trading my own accounts to begin with. And I would say in general on the interwebs, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, as I do get a few emails about this. I imagine that most people probably know this, especially veterans of the crypto sphere. But yes, if you are wondering where my actual Instagram account is, it's in the link description below as well. And of course, I'm probably not going to DM you for anything, just because I have my hands full enough. Although I do sometimes respond to DMs. I really want to limit back some of my social media exposure, because man, it's like a fucking black hole that sucks you in and then doesn't let go for basically anything. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? Yes, we do. Tell the scammer to send nudes. That's actually what Elsa did when the scammer was messaging her, which was actually rather fun to follow up on that conversation. Should also let you know that we do have a sale going on. No, it is not my birthday. I'm not like 50 years old at this point, because it's been my birthday like fucking 20 billion times this goddamn year. But we do have a sale going on until the end of the year, essentially, and 20% off for everything. Please make sure that you watch promotional videos that accompany all of the programs in the store there. They're going to explain who they're for and who they're not for, and then you can make an educated decision for yourself, whether it's like even relevant to you, which I think I will move on from there, because we have many things to be going on right now. And so what can we see over here on the Krown Chain application, which of course, which we've already spoken about, where you can find it. But into the market data tab we go. Is there anything of interest that gives us kind of a greater idea of what's going on in the background right now? Well, once again, I want to reference the fear and greed index over here, which is still technically within the fearful zone. We're at a 37 right now, but this is obviously a leg up from the prior very fearful zone, as you did see for almost 3 weeks straight in early December, leading up to kind of where we're at right now. So again, this is why we kind of call these things out, because they are usually going to be a good sort of understanding of, hey, it's time to be looking for at least a bounce out of these regions. As we did see the last major lows, of course, at $40,000 in September, only spent about 2 weeks within the fearful zone. And then, of course, the last macro cycle low that we saw at $30,000 thus far. I mean, assuming that one holds, but I still think that it does. We saw it kind of hang down around there for about 2.5 to 3 months. So, overall, I like to follow up on these things, not because they're, the most important things, but because they do give us a general understanding of what's going on in the background. And it gives you a bit of a bias as to what to be looking for if you are especially more long-term minded. Now, of course, going back into the first data tab over here, I do want to follow up on the global funding rate, which is still below parity. And we've seen this consistently below parity, even sometimes negative for the past 2 months consistently now, a little bit more than 2 months, in fact. And it's been essentially downtrending since Bitcoin hit its highs in October, November. So all of that does suggest that shorts are being more aggressive with price action currently. And that would imply that shorts are going to have they're going to have some pain points, as not only are they going to be leveraged, which all of these positions are, obviously. I mean, that's what the leverage ratios and the open interest actually represent. But more importantly, with Bitcoin testing the top side of the daily range at $52,000, that does imply that we're probably going to hit a lot of stop losses above there, or liquidations, which essentially rocket fuel for that same direction, leading into potentially a big bad breakout, which we're going to cover soon enough. On top of that, we do see that the global leverage ratio is the highest level that it's ever been, in fact, and we do see that the open interest is not the highest level that it's ever been. So how can you get something like that where the leverage ratio is extremely high, but the open interest is not, as high as we have seen it in the past? Well, that essentially is a function of Bitcoins being taken off exchanges over here. You can see that it's just been a complete nosedive with outflows consistently over the past couple of months. Now, we did see some pretty major inflows for a couple days in the, 23rd, 24th of December right there. But of course, that is going to be overshadowed by the net outflows that we've been seeing consistently over the past couple of months. And honestly, if I were looking at this over here, is a little bit of psyops going on, or is it just someone taking some Bitcoin into cold storage, maybe covering themselves coming into the end of the year? Who knows what it is? But at the end of the day, we really need to be looking at the historical value of these, and it is quite literally at one of the lowest areas that we have seen in multiple years here, which does imply that the market is over leveraged and it's being a little bit more aggressive on the short side. So again, when we're talking about leverage positions, it's always going to be 1-to-1. So it's not that there's more shorts than longs, it's just that shorts are being more aggressive, meaning that they are marketing into their position rather than limit ordering in, which means that they're going to be, very likely at the mercy of the market. So let's get off that tip right now. Let's get on to the actual price action charts. I'm going to follow up on CME right here, as this is the big chart that we've been following for the past, basically for forever, but this is the most obvious one, obviously. And what do we see right here? We do see that Bitcoin is approaching somewhat the top side of the daily range. That's $52,000 right there. That's the big level for myself, meaning that if Bitcoin does start to get back above that region, especially close higher term timeframes above there, that really solidifies this as your next major low on your medium and higher term timeframes, your daily, daily and above, namely in this case. And that will very likely initiate targets much, much higher. Why is that? Because we did confirm on both spot price action and CME the weekly closure as confirming hidden bullish divergence right here. So this was obviously already on CME coming in from last Thursday, but of course now we do have spot price action following up as well on both a weekly and 5-day. Now CME has not closed their 5-day just yet, but I imagine that's going to be a little bit more of a formality. And within the context of this price action and what the hidden bullish divergence obviously implies is that we do have a higher low right here, and popping back above that $52,000 region really solidifies this as like your next major low. So if you're looking for that hidden bullish divergence target to be played out, probably looking somewhere at minimum around about $57,000, our last major meltdown area. Actually, it might be a little bit less than that if we go down to a daily. Yeah, somewhere around actually like 56.5 or so on the shorter end, and as much as about 59,000 and some odd change right there. Working off this chart yet again, which what I want to do is actually want to put a big blue box in this area right here. Just kind of, state its authority on the long term. Basically, Bitcoin above this region right here, $59,000 or $60,000, no matter, they're kind of one and the same right now. On any sort of a higher term time frame closure, that's at the point where I'd really look at Bitcoin as in a threatening posture to not just look good on the long term on this consolidation, as we spoke about yesterday in the long term analysis video, but being in a threatening posture to actually, break out, bust on through to the upside, and we start to talk about some plan B targets yet again for some bust in action towards, I think, like 85,000 would be the next, sort of medium term target. And then the long term would obviously be the measure move off that, which is right on over here, if I do recall. And yes, indeed it is. And that would be right at, of course, the $95,000 region, which It's probably also one of our fib extensions over here as well. Indeed it is. As you can see, it's right around the 1.414. If I do this properly, it's basically right around there. So fair enough. All is good in the hood right there. So again, understand the order of operations right here. If we go down to the shorter term timeframes, obviously things are going to be a little bit different. Let me pull up this chart yet again. Actually, if we go down to the shorter term timeframes, are things different is the real question. No, not necessarily. So I do want to follow up on this, of course. Now, what are we following up on over the weekend? Now, we did look at the 49,500-ish region as a higher low for a pullback over the weekend. And typically speaking, when you are in a long-term trending market, you do see your weekends usually operate on the opposite side of that trend. And it's usually going to be an opportunity to get into one of those trending positions more often than not. Not always, of course. It's not like a hard rule, but more often than not. And that's kind of what we saw over the weekend right here, calling out this as one of the Krown cross potential signals, which actually called out in the Discord as well when I actually took the trade. Basically, this is what you're looking for. Very low volatility coming into the 55 on an uptrend, and we do see hidden bullish evidence also on the same tick as well. And this is consistent all the way up to a 6 hour, I do believe. Let me just double check. Yes, indeed, we see the same thing running over there as well. So I actually took that position off, not because I don't think that it's going to work out, but because I had to go to bed. Once bedtime kind of comes, I like to reduce exposure, especially on a weekend as well. So, I actually did take off that position, and I'll just wait. If Bitcoin does come back down around there, that's great. If it doesn't, well, I won't trade the breakout because I don't trade breakouts, but I'll find another position based off of whatever based off of whatever strategy I'm looking at that time in the future. So again, patience is the name of the game, at least as far as I'm concerned. And let's go over here to momentum oscillators, because there's a lot of things going on for right now. Again, on a Monday, especially, I like to reference CME momentum, or just indicators in general, as they do have a higher efficacy and a higher hit rate. And let's go and start off with the 4 hour for the short-term timeframes. We do see that 50,000 bucks is going to be the magical number to remain with upside posturing for 4 hour momentum. 3 hour is going to be showing what? 50,100, so kind of building on top of it. Bi-hourly is going to be turning down below 51,100, and hourly is going to be turning down or remaining down as long as below 50,932, which we are currently about $100 below right now with 46 minutes left to go. So that is obviously an eternity in crypto land, and a lot of things can happen between them. But if I did have to call it right now, keep in mind that CME did not play at that same pullback into a higher low that we saw in spot price action over the weekend. So if we are running with that assumption, which I don't see any reason not to, I actually do think that Bitcoin probably does pull back a little bit here in the short term, sometimes today. And where could we potentially see this pullback come down towards? Anywhere between about 49,000 to 49,500 or so is fair game. I do not look at Bitcoin in a short-term bad posturing, essentially, related to the 4 hour and under, as long as we are especially above, not below, but above, in this case, our last higher low, or just even a little bit above it, about 48,500 or so. So can Bitcoin come down in the short term and play out a move like that and punish the late longers? Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I do think that that's kind of what's happening right here, especially when we go over to momentum oscillators from this aspect and do look at, kind of a bifurcation in the, even in the short-term time frames. We really want to see them all on the same side to get like the easy trades, or the easy momentous trades in this case. Anyway, 6 hour is going to be showing what? Yeah, it's also going to be turning down below 50,560. So basically it is saying that, unless if Bitcoin literally just bulldozes its way through right here and just busts on through 52,000 bucks, extremely likely we do actually see back down towards like 49 to 49,500-ish base, and that actually would be good. And that's kind of where, I'd probably be patient for. And also the 12 hour right here on CME, same thing, as we do see it actually with upside momentum as long as above 49,700. Now let's see where the daily and other higher term timeframes are, and now start to relate this into the greater picture of things. As we do see daily is still just absolutely vertical as long as below $46,000. And funnily enough, that number actually went down from the last closure to where we're at right now, which is really, really good for the long term. Again, long term, I really do like this signal. We've gone over this a million goddamn times, so I won't do it for the millionth and first time on today's video. But basically, I'm talking about this signature over here. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, please reference basically any video in the past like 3 or 4 weeks now, as we've been going over this ad nauseum. But basically, we've seen this signal really confirm itself and continue onwards and forwards, which is good. And that does set up the long-term picture. Just short-term, could we see a pullback, between them? Yes, absolutely. And if we go into the other higher-term timeframes on CME specifically, we're actually going to see the bi-daily cross the upside officially for the first time since for the first time really since October rally. And that will happen today with any sort of a closure above $47,000. And by the way, we've actually never even seen 2-day stochastic this low on CME specifically, which is very, very interesting to me. I'm not necessarily sure what to make out of that, but that very likely does align with with some upside momentum, if you will, but probably a powerful drive of that. 5-day is also correcting rather heavily here as well. In the weekly, same thing as well. So these are, at least in the way that I'm looking at things, bullish resets. And guess where these ones start to turn around? And let me see if this is consistent on both spot and CME. Yeah, it is pretty much on pretty much the same right there. 5 days actually moving all the way down to 54,000 now on spot, and I imagine we'll probably see something relatively similar on the next tick for CME. But the weeklies are basically at the same area, which is $57,000 or so. So why is that important? Because if we do look at this from a more long-term perspective, back above that $57,000 to $58,000 region right here, that aligns with Bitcoin actually, not just solidifying this as a major low, but also putting itself in a very, very good posturing to, well, at that point, I suspect, realistically test the all-time highs if $57,000 to $58,000 is reclaimed on a 5-day or a weekly closure. And by the way, again, I don't want to understate this actually. I'm kind of missing this one for myself, in fact, here. And it's this, the 5-day 4 spot price action, which closed last night alongside the weekly, is not only playing out another test towards this trend line regression right here, but also it has come down significantly here as Bitcoin essentially just puts in another higher low, or so it would seem, especially alongside that hidden bullish divergence on the 5-day, which was confirmed last night. And this will actually turn back up again with any sort of a closure again above $54,000. So obviously, if Bitcoin does play out this measure move from the falling channel that we did identify on CME, which is pointed up right towards that $54,000 region, and then we do see a 5-day closure above there, you're going to see again a break of structure, or essentially solidifying that lower breaking structure on the very low term time frames, depending upon how what time frame you're looking at, essentially. And then you're going to see higher term time frame momentums turn to the upside, and that would also be reclaiming the breakdown region. This region coming in from early October and then late November, where Bitcoin spent some time going sideways before melting down right there. So it would be a combination of many things, and that would be a very powerful thing overall. I suspect that Bitcoin would basically just test around $57,000 to $59,000 after that, and obviously that has a lead-on effect into the long term, where above those regions, just kind of have to be bullish, I guess, for new all-time highs, and fair enough. Anyways, let's go over here into the monthly, because we are coming into the end of December, and let's just kind of follow up on what this chart actually looks like right now. Again, this just looks like one massive consolidation as far as I'm concerned. If we look at the monthly BBWP, it's been coming down, contracting basically ever since Bitcoin hit its highs in March and April of this year. So that is suggesting that this whole territory right here, I'm talking about, let me just get my damn brush out, do my painter shit over here. This whole this whole area right here is one massive consolidation. And if it is one massive consolidation, then we look at both momentum and trend and volatility to kind of give us an idea of which way it's likely to get resolved. And of course, as long as Bitcoin holds the higher lows, I am going to say that it's a lot more probabilistic that Bitcoin breaks out to the upside than the downside. And then you can see where all the momentum also start to change around. So this still looks, quote unquote, good to myself. Now, again, coming into the end of the year, we do have a quarterly and then a semi-annual. I think those are kind of like the highest term timeframes that make something resembling sense on this asset. And what do you see right here on the, God damn it, fucking stop with the damn brush, for the love of God. But what do we see over here on the quarterly coming into the end of the year? Not great, but not terrible. Actually, again, it would imply that if we are going to see Bitcoin eventually break out to the upside, we probably do see the etchings of this move back up into the mid $50,000 territory at minimum before end of year. So Bitcoin is kind of on a bit of a ticking time bomb, at least in my opinion. We do want to see this happen sooner rather than later. And when I say sooner rather than later, I do essentially mean before the 31st of December, or basically when the clock strikes midnight or whatever the hell it is. If we go over here to the semi-annual, again, this looks, more or less good for the long term. But of course, when you're talking about a semi-annual, you're talking about 6 months of price action. So this can obviously get filled out in many different ways. But for right now, long term, obviously the trend is your friend. And well, the trend is still doing shit like this. So can't really hate anything like that. All right, cool. I think it is... I think it is time to maybe get into the comments now. I've probably spoken off my head a little bit too much. Again, if you're more interested in the very long-term analysis of Bitcoin, we didn't really touch too much into it into this video. But what I can suggest is that you check out yesterday's long-term analysis video, as I try to do my best over the weekend to really nail down the most important things to be aware of on the macro scale. This is for people who are looking like months down the road, maybe even years down the road, and keep these streams more focused towards short-term timeframes. And in which case, what can we boil this down to on the short-term timeframes? Well, here's the most simplistic chart of all time. Funnily enough, it's been working incredibly well. Above $52,000, good. Below $46,000, bad. Short term, if Bitcoin does take out the last higher low at 49,400, that would be a little bit concerning short term, obviously, and imply moves back down towards our prior meeting of the base. But for right now, Bitcoin, well, a little bit closer to the topside resolution than not, as it does confirm a nice local low on especially the short and medium term timeframes, which can be, of course, resolved above $52,000 for then the very higher term timeframes, which is going to be quite good. All right, cool. So let me pull up the chatties over here. I think Elsa's got them all nice and ready. Holy shit, it's a busy day already, which is insane. No, Josh is first. Josh is first. There he is. Hey, what's up? Namaste to you as well, my friend. Happy belated to Elsa. Man, she really appreciates it. She was really blown away by a lot of people commenting yesterday. It's like she was saying, man, there's so many people. I can't even respond to all of them, but I feel so overwhelmed with this. It was actually really wholesome and really, really cool. And I just want to say a massive thank you for that, because that's just really, really nice of everyone to do. Anyways, you're saying I'm really liking the Sim series. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun for us to do, and we're going to we don't have any plans to stop. So, I mean, we just got a sponsorship with it, which don't know how the fuck that happened, but hey, we'll take it, I guess. I guess they don't really care about our liberal use of language sometimes, but fair enough. And anyways, you're saying looks like an ascending triangle on Ethereum USD. Okay, for the daily, you're saying specifically. So you're talking about this right here. So is the first question. It's kind of baking something like that in. In fact, this would be a good one to, of course, record. So let me just read the rest of your message and then we'll get on with it. But basically, BBWP on the floor, Stokes holding up, bullish divergence on MACD, Jewel, Autofib still red. I think the former outraised the red. The Jewel on that DMI portion will be probably the last one to follow up with them. And again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one's going to probably follow. But this is looking like one massive descending broadening wedge for what it's worth right now. Anyways, I'll record this. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, requested by the good friend Mr. Josh, and we are looking at, well, hopefully, or at least he's presenting this as potentially an ascending triangle in the daily. I do think that there is some legitimacy to that. At the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily need to be anything more complicated than this, in my opinion, which is the same chart that we've been working off of for the last like few weeks here, actually, which is basically the 4130-ish region right here as a major precipice for the long term, meaning that if you do start to get back above that region, that would be resolving this as one major low, whether you call this any triangle or whether you call this a falling pizza, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They both are kind of one and the same and suggesting a relatively similar thing. And there is measure moves to be made off of both of these. If we are looking at this as an ascending triangle, you have a measure move, something like this right here, and I imagine that's going to be pointed up towards your top side of your daily range, which is 4,500. And then of course above there, I would be looking for the falling pizza measure move to be playing out, which is in line with the one spot 414 at about 4950-ish region, which would imply obviously new all-time highs. And then we can start to talk about targets into the shallow 5,000, which is probably around about 5,400 if I had to guess, or at least from memory. Anyways, you did denote that this is shaping up to be a very mature consolidation, of which I would certainly agree. We see daily BBWP on the floor, the longest time that we spent on the floor basically since August of 21, which did precipitate, of course, this major run right here, coming out of this base, actually somewhat similar base in the short term, based off of that what would have been an ascending triangle right here. And while it doesn't look like much, of course, on log scale, this was a pretty impressive move, about 32% right there. Yes, it didn't get continuation on top of that, but ultimately, with volatility being this low and not Bitcoin, but Ethereum being this close to the highs, I do look at this as, a pretty major turning point alongside all of our momentum oscillators, of which they are essentially suggesting some more upside continuation right here. Daily RSI playing out some drives of bullish evidence come off the lows and also rejecting the bearish control zone, which is good. And we see the same sort of formations going on right here as well, which is, well, just another set of confirmations right there. Daily Jewel is, of course, heading up. Now, I would like to see the DMI support that. Of course, it is actually, it is kind of getting into a bit of a resistance region right there as well. So maybe does spend a little bit of time going sideways here. So let's come up with a bit of an invalidation for this sort of a setup, of which, again, I do suspect that this one's very mature. Where does this one start to fall apart and no longer you do have a more immediately bullish setup? Well, short term would be a little bit concerning, coming back down below about $4,000, especially on a 4-hour closure. The area, however, that would be massively concerning and imply moves back down to your current lows at about 47 to 4650, or not 46 or 47, but 3,700, 3650 or so, would be if you do come back down and take out that last 3,900 higher low right here from 23rd of December, right before that Christmas time. So ultimately, I do agree that the setup is certainly there. Higher term timeframes like the 5-day and the weekly looks like they are putting in higher lows right around the yellow 20-minute exponential average, which is, generally a good thing. Doesn't mean that you can't, again, come back down and maybe take another swipe at it. In fact, it might even be a little bit likely right here, especially on the weekly as well. But ultimately, these are decent setups. Now, do we have potential hidden bullish evidence on the weekly? No, we do not, which is, I wouldn't say it's concerning, and nor do we have it on the 5-day as well. It's not like a bad thing, but it just would have made this a lot easier. Let's go check out what momentum looks like from this angle as well. See what the daily looks like right here, and daily momentum will remain to the upside force from a stochastic perspective as long as it's above about 3850 or so. If we go over here to the 5-day and the weekly, we do see that it's still correcting 4569, and the weekly is showing 4411, which are both interesting, as these would still be considered a bit of a bullish correction, as this one essentially puts in a higher low right here. But again, that would imply that Ethereum is probably not ready for any sort of major macro breakout. I wouldn't say anytime soon, but at least in the next couple weeks, if I had to guess right now, probably looking at more around middle to end of January at the earliest, in my opinion, if you are going to be looking for new all-time highs. So again, if you do take out the top side resistance of this one, which is 4130-ish region, 4130-ish region on no less than a daily closure, could maybe even use a 12-hour as well if you want to be a bit more aggressive, but I'd move that number up towards 4150, personally speaking. I still would just be looking for a move, not just looking for a move, but I'd be looking for a move towards about 4500 rather than the big bag macro breakout, which probably does pull back from that region, sets in a higher low, and then, well, likely off to the races, assuming that the rest of the market behaves. But for right now, Ethereum in a good posturing, but obviously not as good as some of the other layer ones, which are just going to the moon and beyond. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir. Nice one, man. All right, sweet. We're off to a good start, man. Off to a good start, sirs and sirs. We got Mr. Sidhu next. He says, happy holidays. AVAX daily and weekly. Sure. I haven't looked at AVAX in a while now, but I imagine it's still doing pretty damn good. And it is still doing pretty damn good. Oh, what do you know? Another fucking higher low right there. Yeah, one of the better charts across the lands. So let me just take a sip of this water. We'll actually record this one as well. And what's up, new 333? I see you over there, man. And Burnt Creme, good morning to you as well. Damn, man, people are up early, and it pretty much is a holiday right now, I suspect. I mean, shit, there's already 760 likes on this video with 1,600 people watching. Man, not only are you guys up way too fucking late, but you're here in the cave, which is beautiful, fucking beautiful. And I couldn't be happy to be anywhere more else in this world, man. It was honestly kind of boring the last few days not doing these streams, but life takes over, of course. Well, sorry, it would have been fun to have your birthday also on a stream as well, just for an hour or two. It would have been fun. Okay, you agree. All right, fair enough. Avoid that one really quickly. Ah, there we go. And Charles Fox, what's up, man? Oh, I see Shit Shot. What's up, man? Beautiful. All right. Good analysis on that, man. Very good analysis on that. All right, sweet. Here we have Avalanche, symbol AVAX, versus the dollar, and AVAX putting in what seemingly is another higher low over the holiday season on the weekend. Now, what is going to be the most important thing to be aware of on this one coming in the Sumas potentially would be any sort of a daily closure, again, above that 127.25 region. Now, ultimately, I do think that this is more or less a formality, especially as long as this thing is above $100. I do quite like this one. It's one of the more strong assets within this market, especially with BBWP coming down to the floor, which we haven't really even seen this low level since actually November of this year, which did precipitate this major run from, Jesus Christ, man, 63 all the way up to 144. I mean, that was quite the run. Actually, I didn't realize that much. Jesus Christ, man, this thing's gone more than 2x. this thing's gone more than 2x while most of the market's been going sideways, I expect. Anyways, this is of course a decent setup right here, and we actually do have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders being built up right now, which I typically don't call out, but it is there to be fair. And if we were to play something like this out, which again would only be confirmed with the daily closure above the neckline, which is about 127 and a quarter, or a 12-hour probably does it as well, I would be first looking for a nice move up towards your prior all-time highs, which is about $1.50 or so. And then long term, we do actually have a measure move, put it up in line with the 1.618 at about 169 to 170ish region. Some good numbers right there. Personally speaking, I do think that things would probably pull back from that region, try for another higher low, and then set it up for likely continuation over the next month or so from that from that region towards the $200 number. But ultimately, AVAX again in a very strong position of power right here, especially on the weekly, as well as we do set in and really confirm that last weekly higher low alongside hidden bullish evidence right here, alongside BBWP contracting, which again, this is, it hasn't been around for that long. So this is about the lowest that it's ever really truly gotten. So I do expect that this one does continue into early 2022, maybe like early to mid of 2022 in January is kind of what I'm saying. So let me just pull up momentum from a stochastic perspective on this pane over here, and let's see what things are looking like in the short term. Yeah, weekly Stokes will turn back up with any sort of a move back above about 122, which by the way is even less than what I do have as my topside resolution here. For more aggressive traders, are probably going to look at last week's wick high as a continuation point. Fair enough. That's always too aggressive for myself, but that doesn't mean that I can't work. And then the 5-day has actually fully corrected down to the edge of the bullish control zone and is ticking up right now, as long as we do close above or remain above about $1.05. So again, short term, can you see pullbacks anywhere down to about $1.10? Yeah, I do think that that's possible, especially if Bitcoin pulls back, but that's certainly not guaranteed. The next big area to be interested in, at least to the upside, is 127 and a quarter. Until then, it's actually been one of the most simple and straightforward charts. Obviously below $100 would be rather concerning, and probably insinuating another test back down to like your $80 to $85 base. But for right now, this one's in a position of power, and well, probably setting up for a pretty damn good start to 2022, especially when we look at the other higher term time frames like a monthly, which is just a backfill in last November lows and up straight from there. I mean, that is good. That is good. Bi-weekly, basically same thing as well. So yeah, I look at AVAX as one of the stronger names within this market right now. I just want to see 127 and a quarter, and then looking at prior all-time highs, very likely a short-term pullback right there, and then measure move up towards, I think it was like $1.69 or so. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Avalanche, sir. Nice, man. Dr. Colossus says, morning, Krown. Good morning, sir. Can you check out CHSB on the daily and weekly? CHSB. Okay, CHSB. Okay, on the daily and weekly. Only trades on Finex. Interesting. This is Swiss Borg. Is that right? Anyways, so we see this. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up a more long-standing chart. Just out of curiosity. So we do it. Okay, we have it versus the dollar and versus Tether base. I think dollar is probably going to be better right here. Anyways, the analysis is more or less going to be the same. I just wish that we had more history, because it would have made things a little bit easier for kind of judging the upside trajectory. But ultimately, coming back down to kind of test around pretty much your all-time lows from September. This one hasn't really been charted for too long here. Very likely begets, a pity bounce, which is what we're in the midst of right now. I do think the pity bounce can very easily come back up towards 66 cents. Things get really crazy, maybe 69 cents. But long term, I am always wary of a chart like this. I mean, it's not really much long-term history to be spoken about right here, but I'd still remain a little bit wary about this long-term, as long as you're below about 73.34. So on a daily closure above there, I do look at this one as putting in very likely a macro base over time, but short-term, very likely up still. Let me just double check that I'm actually addressing what you're looking at. Daily, weekly. Yeah, there's barely a fucking daily here, man, let alone a goddamn weekly. So no, I don't think that that's going to work. Maybe we could try the UST chart over here. Yeah, same shit, man, same shit. Now, long term, if you are looking at a weekly, I guess you could kind of use it from this perspective. 76 cents is the big area that you're looking for above there. This kind of solidifies this as one major macro base, I guess, but we're really not running off of much right here. It's probably going to be easier to watch Bitcoin as always. And short term probably gets, at least another try towards 66, maybe 69 cents or so. That doesn't really mean much for the long term. I'm just always gonna be worried of something that has mostly gone down and doesn't have much history. So with that in mind, short term up, long term, well, assuming that, if you can reclaim about 76 cents, that would look really, really good for new all-time highs, maybe not new all-time highs, but very likely working your way back up towards your, I guess, listing highs in this case, somewhere around 90 cents to $1 after that in the following weeks. But for right now, not the most inspiring chart on its own, mostly going off of general analysis here. Anyways, let me pull back up from right here, and let's see. We got Mr. Stefan Milosevec. Did I say that right?
No, Dr. Colossus.
I just did, Dr. Colossus, sir. Oh, Elsa's not listening again, being very bad, very, very naughty. AVAX Daily Weekly, yep, we got that one. Also considering buying the beginner, you mean the Neophyte program? Would you say 5 to 10,000 USD is enough to start out? Thank you for all you, hey man, so I do appreciate that. So when it comes to starting out, you don't need fucking anything. You shouldn't be trading with any money when you first start out. You should be trading a paper account, whether that be with pen and paper, or whether that be on a demo account for whatever exchange that you desire. You shouldn't be putting any money at risk because it's going to take some time to actually get, first, like some knowledge, and then second, and I'm assuming that you're kind of starting from maybe zero or around zero, and then second, like some actual confidence. And there's absolutely zero reason to be risking your real finances, your potential trading equity before you get through that process. So I'd say that you're actually kind of getting a little bit ahead of yourself right now, and no, that I don't think that you need any money to start. You just need a lot of you just need a lot of fucking determination and free time to start is what you need, because it's gonna be at least like 6 months within that learning phase. I mean, for myself, when I first started trading, when I first started learning, I didn't do any trading at all. I was just like learning from like basically a textbook and my mentor for the first like 2 to 3 months. And then after that, it was about 4 to 5 months of trading a demo account, or the equivalent of a demo account. And then I actually put a very small amount to work. I actually started out just trading fucking one lots in options, which is not much, and then I eventually worked my way up to 5 lots and then 10 lots and then so on and so forth. But no, man, don't get ahead of yourself right there. Again, these are not fucking magic pills, and they're probably going to take, a decent amount of time to actually get decent at, assuming that you even put in the hard work and effort to begin with. Again, I'm just trying to scare as many people away from these things as possible, mostly because if I don't, then we get some interesting characters in the Discord, and that can be draining on everyone. So fair enough. Anyways,
Sir,
what?
The Dr. Colossus said you look at the wrong chart. You should have looked CHSB BTC daily week.
Okay, you want to look at the Bitcoin pairing. All right, we'll look at Swissborg on fucking KuCoin. Sounds great, man. Daily, weekly. Daily looks not great. Weekly looks like shit. Did you like my analysis? Sorry, man. Look, this one's a little bit weaker on its own. It's kind of got the same setup as many other things, but it's already kind of rolling over right here, which is not great. Back above 1363 on both a daily or a weekly. That's where you actually do resolve this range and very likely initiate moves back up towards your prior, I'm guessing, highs. Yeah, I guess your prior highs in this case, somewhere around 1850, maybe as much as 2300. And that'll look really, really good long term. For right now, short term, this is looking like another lower high to me. And, looking for moves back down towards your weekly base is probably the name of the game right here, just above 1,000 Satoshis. So I'm actually going to represent this as a blue box in this case, something like this. And I would be looking for bounces off this region. It could be that you're doing something like this long term, which would be, I guess, good, where you come back down, set in an ever so slightly higher low, and then pop back above this region. But I would not be looking at this one as in a good posturing on either the daily nor the weekly, especially the weekly, as long as you're below 1360 in this case on a closing basis. Above there, I do look for this one to reclaim around these highs, and then probably just, continues on with the macro rally long term. But for right now, still looking like it's in a corrective phase at best. Short term on a daily, you could look at this range as a little bit more forgiving above 1263 Satoshis. At that point, I'd be looking for this one to test the weekly range highs. In this case, 1360 again, and above there, I probably would be looking for a nice move to the upside. But for right now, if you are on the daily, do you have a higher low in place right here? Potentially, yes. I think the hopium short term is that you're doing something like this, right? But that would imply that you, of course, do not break below your current low side structure at about 1169, 1165 region. At which point, I would be looking for this one to come back down and go for the full retrace, the full fucking round trip, huh? And if you are on a daily, I would not call it upside resolution as long as you're below about 1460 actually. So daily and weekly obviously going to have a little bit of a different range right there. But, to be fair, I mean, long term, this is not it's not like a terrible chart. Probably is putting in a higher low here over time. I just think it's going to take some time, of course, as well. All right, Andrew Lee's next. He says, learning a ton from being here. That's awesome, man. Again, always remind yourself, though, whatever you're learning, like you're doing that on your own volition. You're doing that on your own accord, and that means that you are, well, capable. So that is awesome, man. Does volatility bleed out profits on leverage positions if I leave the position open for days or a week? Okay, we got a lot more learning to do, though. Oh, fuck. All right, so this is why you really need to put in the effort to read the contract specifications. But I guess I can do that for you right now. Anyways, you're saying, or is it all the same as long as the end result of the leverage asset increases? Okay, so if this is a nuanced understanding here. So first things first, you have to understand what the fuck you're trading. If you're trading perps on like a BitMEX, on a Bybit. By the way, check out my Bybit link in the description below. There you go. There's your fucking subtle shill for the day. Go get wrecked there. No, just kidding, man. No, don't do that. But Bybit, Femex, BitMEX, Deribit, these sort of exchanges that have a one-to-one peer-to-peer relationship on the if you're trading perps, then you're going to have funding costs that coincide with that. It has absolutely fucking nothing to do with volatility. Absolutely nothing at all. Zero to do with volatility. Again, does it have anything to do with volatility? No. No, it does not. But what it does have to do with is the funding rate. So that's why we actually check out this chart over here for the global funding rates. Now, of course, it's going to be exchange specific. So whatever exchange that you are on is going to be different. And if it is positive, you're going to be paying a little bit, or whatever that percentage is, per contract in order to hold that position long on that exchange. If it's negative, you get paid to hold longs, and vice versa for shorts. So you technically would be getting paid to hold shorts right now. Not a whole hell of a lot. This is really small numbers, to be fair. Very, very small financing costs. So that is something that you would be dealing with if you are trading perps, for example. Now, if you are trading futures contracts, that's different, in fact. And that is not going to have funding costs associated with them. What it is going to have, however, is it's going to have a premium or discount related to essentially the future outlook of that asset. So if the future outlook is generally bullish, you're probably going to have a nice premium on it. If it's bearish, you're probably going to have a nice discount on it. Right now, there's certainly a premium on it. Very small amount, actually, compared to what we see on CME, just about $100 up from spot price action. And that will obviously only ever be worth parity by the time you do get to expiry. So be aware of that. And of course, there's pros and cons with both of them. Maybe you don't want to pay the premium. Maybe you do. Maybe it doesn't matter to you. I don't know. It might not even be relevant to begin with. And then, of course, this conversation now has to be separated into another way, because there's other exchanges like Finex and what other exchanges operate like this nowadays? I don't know. Finex and maybe CME, actually. I actually don't know. I'd assume probably CME as well, where if you are taking on leverage positions, you do actually take that. You do borrow that from a margin funding pool, essentially. So you just pay no matter what, regardless of whether you're long or short. It doesn't work on a one-to-one basis. So this is why it's really important to read the contract specifications. They're going to let you know, what it is in your unique situation. Because I imagine, well, you didn't specify what exchange you're on, so I don't know what exact one. But most of them operate into the one-to-one category. Anyways, let me scroll on through here and see. That was the second comment right there. That was Andrew Lee, sir. Come on. It's the most fun to troll Elsa. She gets very frustrated. Aussie Bear says, can you check out Solana chart, please? Just check it out. I mean, no fucking time frames given. No, nothing. Like, what the hell, man? Yeah, we can go check it out, I guess. Check it out. I've checked it out. Looks the same as the last few days. Looks very similar to Ethereum right here. I guess we could record a quick video on this one. Here we have Solana symbol SOL versus the dollar, and a very similar chart to Ethereum, actually. Even the same sort of technical information. This one, a bit of a broadening wedge, as you can see. Or should I draw it out? Yeah, fuck it. We'll draw it out. I actually have it charted as a falling channel right here. Both kind of the same sort of interpretations, but more importantly right now, this one actually is initiating its first sort of etchings of a daily breakout, as it did close above the region that I had overlaid at about 195. It actually got that, it actually closed above there yesterday at 198 or so. So yeah, this is actually looking quite good. Short term, I would be looking for another test somewhere around the 210-ish region, very likely a short term pullback around that region. But I'm overall bullish on this one, looking for this one to reclaim around your 230 to 240-ish highs, assuming, or I guess an invalidation, as long as this invalidation is not met, which is below about 190. Below 190, I do look for this one to catastrophe fall back down to like 170 to 160-ish region. Until then, this actually looks quite good. Again, you are seeing a breakout with extremely low volatility right here. So if we do start to see this tick up alongside continuation, I would be looking for that test up somewhere around about 230 to 240-ish region. Very likely a short-term pullback right there. And then is that going to have the power to bust on through? Perhaps yes. If we go over here to a weekly, which again, I don't know what time frame you're looking at because you did not specify, but we do have potential weekly hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point, as this would be a higher low right here. This is also just a general up and to the right chart, which is, well, good, I would say. And if we go to the monthly coming into the end of the year here, this is a decent end of the month thus far, especially if it closes above that 230 to 240ish region. I'd feel very comfortable, very confident calling new all-time highs in very likely January, probably somewhere around $300 if I had to guess long term, and then not long term, but like in mid to late January, and then more long term, perhaps in February, March area, perhaps looking at some more crazy targets, which actually won't repeat right now because they're a little bit too out there for me to get excited about for the time being. And of course, we'll follow up on this one in the short term. Now, if we do over here to stochastic momentum, we do see that 5-day Stokes. I've actually had a nice corrective phase right here. I don't see any trend lines relevant for this one, but ultimately 215 would turn these babies back up. So we've had a nice bullish reset as price action essentially just sets another higher low. My experimental indicator over here is already suggesting a proceeding of that signal before it even happens. And when the weekly is basically doing the same thing. So 230 going to be a very, 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 very big area for this one, as we actually do see a nice trend line regression coming in from our last major lows from December 2020 and our lows in August 21 from the summer. And that would be protecting against the around the bearish control zone in this case. And where does it turn back up again? 230. That is very interesting, because if Solana does trade back above and close above 230, I'd be looking at that as your next sort of major indication of a long-term macro breakout with targets towards 300 and longer term $400 very, very likely, if and when that is confirmed. Just be aware of where the invalidation is on something like this. If you're on the short-term time frames, it's just an uptrend, man. It doesn't need to be anything more complicated than that. So I think I'll leave it right there. And with that said, take care. And there you go for Solana, sir. Nice, man. All right. Let's see. I think we are at Ibaka next. I think we have Ibaka next. Let me just double check. Yeah, we do. Okay, nice. Going nice and smoothly today. This is good. This is really, really good. New 1 hour and daily, please. Is this for new 333 or is this an actual token? It is an actual token. What the fuck? What will they think of next, ma'am? Anyways, you're on an hourly and a daily. That's quite the spread in time frames right there. But this one not so bad right here, to be fair. It is setting in what appears to be another accumulation range over the long term. This is just, it's very it's just an altcoins way of doing it, I guess. Just sloppy, but hey, that's why we love them, I guess. Anyways, where do you get excited about something like this on a daily? Back above, oh, motherfucker. I think that you actually could get excited back above this region right here, 112.5 or so on a daily. That would be your actual breakout level. Until then, short term, I'll be moving to the upside or the downside more likely. I mean, this is obviously an uptrend right here, and we do see a bit of a very sloppy, but I guess okay, ascending triangle, which would imply a range between about 83-cent high versus, what is this area right here at about 81-cent low. It's only kind of oscillating between there. This does look quote unquote good. We do see volume kind of pouring in around the top side of this resolution, and there would be measure move to be made off of this as well upon resolution above that. I think it was 83-cent area or so, with targets up towards 86-cent. Obviously that can bleed into the daily and insinuate, short-term continuation towards about $1 even. But again, long-term, I would not get super excited about this thing as long as you're below about 112.5 on a daily closing basis, or these wick highs on a wick basis. And of course, where does this one start to fall apart? From a daily perspective, obviously below your 69-cent region. But if you do start to destroy this formation right here by coming back down below about 81 to 80.5 cent or so, I would be looking for a short-term correction only towards 77 cent, and kind of use that as a midline basis for this one if you're specifically using the hourly in this case. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, but not a bad chart, just an altcoin, so kind of sloppy right there. Let's see. Aaron Poss says, Merry Christmas, Krown. Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well, sir. Can we take a look at Vader Protocol? Okay. All right. Vader, this is Ethereum, and then you want to do it times, okay, you want to do it like this, man. All right, well, this is, all right, fair enough. We can try this. I mean, let's see. TradingView should be able to calculate that, and it did. Nice. Bullish, man. Vader's fucking bullish, man. Jesus Christ, dark side's winning right here. I don't have anything to really add to this chart. It's a very new chart. If you're only on a 4 hour, I'll be looking at this one as likely to more likely to pull back right now, or more likely to continue from here. Actually want to look at an hourly as well. I guess hourly shows one more test towards your current highs at like 8.5 cent at least, as we do have another drive of hidden bullish evidence confirming right there on the next closure in 53 seconds basically. So that would look good. I guess I would call a bit of a short-term correction below this level right here, 66.34. But man, this is, I mean, it's just a general up, man. So kind of hard to judge this one. But I guess, yeah, once we look at the 4 hour, I guess this one does make sense. Below about 66 cents on an hourly closure, I would look for this one to correct heavily down to 54 cents. Until then, short term, I'm actually biased towards at least one more test of your all-time highs. And then, of course, well, Closing above your all-time high is going to very likely lead towards new all-time highs. Problem is, where you target on something like this, that is this new, very difficult to get in my opinion. The best I can do is something like this, which I don't trust a whole hell of a lot, to be honest with you, but I guess next area of interest, the upside would be about just above 9 cents or so. So take that as you will, and hopefully that was helpful, sir. Let me just scroll down here. Where are we at? What? Okay, Jack is next. Yeah, there we go. All right, where is Jack? Hold on. There, I see. Okay, sweet man. Matic USD 4 on daily. Yes, we definitely need to do something like Matic, because Matic has been the star of the holiday season, no doubt about that. That one, and what was the other one that was really, really good? I think I forget. I need to take another sip of this water, because we're going to record this one, and this one is, I mean, well, that's about as fucking clean and clear as it gets right there. Not bad, man. Not bad at all. There we go. Put that down. Beautiful. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC versus the dollar. This has been a really beautiful chart to follow up on the last couple months here, actually, as it just consistently puts in these higher lows. This very lovely long-term accumulation base that has essentially been resolved as of a few days ago on the macro scale. So we've been slowly building this up from the lower term timeframes to the higher term timeframes and now into the macro timeframes. And, you know, it required a bunch of patience, obviously, but still, can you have patience when you look at something like this long term? Maybe not in the moment, but perhaps this can be a bit enlightening long term. Anyways, looking at this right here, we did get the macro breakout, a confirmed macro breakout back on over basically around Christmas time. Retested it on the 24th and back up to new all-time highs on the 25th. Beautiful right there. Anyways, we do have measured moves and we do have implied targets to be made off of a structure like this, which is just one massive accumulation range. And that is pointed up as the next area of interest, somewhere around about 3.25 to 330 or so. Really, really good right there. Really powerful chart, obviously. And I imagine that daily momentum is actually looking quite good. See daily RSI back in the bullish control zone. Obviously, we played out that hidden bullish divergence, so can't really be reliant on that anymore. And then we do see that daily volatility is continuing to expand well above 50 percentile. So I expect that this move has a lot more to go long term. Not necessarily to mean that it's just going to be like one massive girthy green dildo from exactly this moment, but over the next like month and a half, I am looking at this as probably one of the strong contenders in this market. It's got one of the best charts consistently over a long period of time. And if we go over here to the weekly, I think that case gets actually strengthened quite a fair bit. So could we have a correction back down to 245 to 250-ish region? Yeah, absolutely. That wouldn't be too problematic. Any sort of short-term pullbacks around there are fine. The only way that I invalidate this one as a long-term macro breakout is either with a trade back down below last week's low or a daily closure below 230 in this case. Until then, weekly Jewel remains with its upside posturing, given the signal from basically the start of this month or end of November. We see volatility taken back above 50 percentile for the first time since, December of last year, actually, and precipitating December last year, that led into this whole run, which within the next 105 days went up about 3,000%. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that this is going to go up 3,000%. But I am looking at this as a pretty mega move in the making here. Not of the same percents though, but just kind of give you an idea. That was actually, probably shouldn't have even done that, because that would just be fucking ridiculous on this one. Anyways, go over here to weekly momentum. It remains the upside as long as above about $2, which currently almost $1 above right now, so quite good. 5-day, obviously the same thing. And then daily is going to be remaining with upside momentum as long as above about 269. So all higher term timeframes still bullish here. If we go into the very low term timeframes, which I don't know if you're interested in or not, but looking at the 4-hour will term down below about 286. By hourly is going to be showing downside below about 288.5, and hourly is going to be showing downside below about 289. So it actually does look a little bit short-term corrective, to be quite honest with you. Again, corrections come all the way down to even like I think, did I say 240 or 250? 250 is not out of the question, nor is 240. So I'd actually run with 240 in this case. As long as you're above 240, I'm essentially macro bullish. Yeah, short term, you're obviously going to see ebbs and flows in this one. Long term, though, all higher term timeframes bullish, and especially the monthly, which is going to be closing in just a few days here. This is quite good, you might say. So I'm looking for this one to be one of the bigger and best performing assets, probably in early 2022, January, February, most likely. This one is setting up for just a phenomenal time. I wonder why this one is. I don't know the fundamentals of something like this, but I just know that this chart is fucking good, man. It has been good for a long time. So hopefully that was helpful. be aware of where the invalidations are, as I'm not necessarily looking for them to get hit, but always need something like that. And then long term, probably looking at, I guess 330 is the next major area of interest on the weekly. Do I think that things will stop there long term? No. Perhaps in late January, early February, I would be looking at the next major consolidation to happen somewhere around about 360 to 370 or so. Until then, looks really, really good. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Polygon, sir. Awesome, man. Oh, there he is. Josh is back again. Ethereum Bitcoin daily testing breakout of ascending triangle. Let's actually, this would be a really good one to follow up on. I haven't checked this one in a bit of time, and it's actually back down below 8 million Satoshis. That is not good right there. Let's see. Where does this one change around for me? So we did say last week that this one very likely does come back down towards about, I think I said 8.1 million Satoshis. We obviously got down there, but that is... yeah, not looking too great for what it's worth right now. Here's the thing though, where do I look at this one as a failure? As you are saying that it is retesting the 886, every other indicator looks like shit. Thoughts I'm kind of confused on if support will hold up. Let's see. Okay, so first things first, where does this one start to fall apart? It falls apart below 7.8 million Satoshis on a daily closure. That would indicate that this one is essentially a failed breakout, and we probably do see big red dildos back down to like 7.5 or 7.4 million Satoshis. Until then, yeah, weekly's not, I would agree, not great right there either. Monthly, how we looking like right now? I don't really know what to make out of that, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, let's go see what momentum looks like. I'm just here. I'm looking for something that's just obvious is what I'm looking for right now, as I haven't really been able to find it. But daily remains down as long as below about 807. 5-day is also freshly down below 867, so that's not turning around today, that's for sure. And weekly will turn down below 807 as well. Very interesting. So basically it's saying that it needs to put in a base like pretty much right here, maybe with one more test down to like 785 or 78 even. We really don't want to see any closures below this last wick low right here, which is basically 78 even on the fucking dot. I guess I do still look at this one as generally bullish long term with a healthy consolidation, although it looks sloppy as all hell as long as you're above that invalidation point. But man, any sort of a closure below there, and I would be looking for this one to correct heavily, very, very heavily right here. Probably looking somewhere around more like 7.4 million Satoshis, I'd say. Until then, I guess I would give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's been one of the better long-term ones, but man, that is not good to be seen coming to the end of the month here. And again, this is, whoops, let me just double check over here. Let me go back to I want to see like what a quarterly looks like. Okay, quarterly still good long-term, so that is not a concern. And what about the 6 month? 6 month also still very good long-term as well. So I expect that this one's probably setting up for a resolution not in early 2022, probably more like at earliest February or March in this case, probably looking more like Q2 of 2022 if I had to guess. Especially if you do take out that 7.8 million Satoshi region, I'd be looking for heavy corrections first before anything else. But basically what I'd be looking for right now, and you can kind of expect this, especially on sloppy altcoins, which this one not really even an altcoin to begin with actually at this point in time. But if I'm just giving my general opinion on this one, if you're going to be bullish on it, you're probably looking for something like this, and you need to get, or not need to, but price action does not need to do shit. But if you do get back above this 8.1 million Satoshi last little lower high, that would be your next sort of indication of something good going on in this thing. If that happens, I'd feel a lot more confident being bullish on this in maybe not early January, but probably more like late January, early February in this case, with resolution on the overall formation back above about 8.5 million Satoshis. Until then, I don't think that you need to be making it any more complicated than this. Again, below 7.8 million Satoshis, bad, especially on a daily closure. Above this last little lower high right here at 8.1, good. Until then, I think I'll just let the price action kind of tell me what to do. And it's probably going to, obviously, or it's not probably, it's very obviously going to run with whatever Ethereum USD is doing. So probably easy to watch what Ethereum USD is doing at this 4130-ish region that we spoke about earlier. Until then, I guess simplifying that in that direction, because I'd agree with you, man. It's from an indicator perspective does not look good. Does not look good right there. But hopefully that was helpful nonetheless. Let's see. Randy Fox, thanks for that, man. A nice emoticon right there. There we go. Martin Hunt, he's back. It's been a while, man. I hope you've had a great holiday and happy birthday to Elsa. Thanks, man. She appreciates that, I'm sure. You're looking at, could you take a look at CRO, AVAX, or Algo? How about just one, and we'll do CRO because we've already done AVAX, sir. CRO is crypto.com, huh? Let's see. Yeah, this one actually still working. Still playing within its range, but testing the top side of the range, obviously not a bad thing. I'd just be looking for this one to probably play out more sideways here, as we've been kind of saying for the past couple weeks. Again, remember where we are in the grand scheme of things. This thing hit major extremes twice in November, actually on the daily. And so while as long as it holds 50 cents, it's actually long-term good. I just don't think that it's ready to be doing anything like super interesting to the upside, which is probably what you're more or less asking for. Which would be above 77.5 cents. Until then, the daily range is, pretty damn obvious, right? Or I wouldn't say pretty damn obvious, but pretty damn consistent right here, which is going to be 67 cents to the upside. Any sort of a daily closure above there. I do look for this one to probably test around its 77 cent region. However, until then, I wouldn't be surprised to see some more like this, man. And then maybe give it a try. And that would actually be really, really good for the long term. And again, as long as it's above 50 cents, I do look at this one as one of the better ones long term, no doubt about that. I just suspect that you're probably going to be going sideways at best. The question is, do you go sideways in this channel right here, or do you go a little bit more like this and then maybe try from there? I don't have a strong opinion on that. I'll just be looking at range resolutions in this case. So that's basically a long way of saying above 67 cent good, below 50 cent bad. Until then, just looking at ranges for right now. If I'm on the very short term time frames, like a 4 hour, do I think that this one's going to bust on through right here? Probably not. Probably test 67 cent a few more times, but I don't think that this one is actually going to bust on through at this exact moment, to be quite honest with you. I think that you maybe test it a few more times and then come back down into the median or low side of the range and put in a longer base, which would be good for, again, maybe not January, but probably February, maybe March of this coming year. Cool. All right, sweet. Let me scroll back up on over here. We got Ben Garrison next. Says XMR BTC 4 hour and daily been bleeding for a while, but it looks bottomed to you. Plus strong narrative and utility. I think it shines in 2022. All right. Well, let's see what the chart says. Let's see what the chart says. All right. So the question is basically, has this one bottomed, or is this one looking like a major bottom? Yeah, just like we identified before on one of the more less impressive charts, coming back down to your, I guess in this case, all-time lows. Yeah, coming back down to your all-time lows, you're very likely to get a pity bounce from that region. But this is look, is not a fucking good chart. This thing, I think best to the upside it does is probably somewhere around 6,900 to 7,000 Satoshis. There's nothing long-term bullish about this thing as long as you're in a weekly downtrend. So if you are looking at macro lows, which it sounds like you are, but you're talking about a fucking 4 hour on a daily, which I don't know why you'd be looking at a 4 hour if you're talking about 2022, but fair enough, we can look at that. I do think that you bounce from this region. I do think they have a daily low, but this does not need to be confused with the term of reversal on the macro scale. That talk does not happen anytime soon, as long as you're below about 11,306 or so. And I'd even say getting back above this last lower high right here would be quite significant, 9,000 Satoshis or so. Until then, short term, you have very likely, I honestly think it's going to trade back up towards 55 or 5,600 Satoshis. Not a big deal right there. Daily looks good for some short term upside. If you're on a 4 hour, definitely looks good. I mean, this one's breaking out right now. It's quite good. Short term, probably looking at 4,600 or so, maybe even 4,650 before the next short term pullback. Again, daily very likely trades up from here as well, but long-term, man, there's nothing good about a chart like this. And this is coming from someone who actually looks at Monero as one of the better, fundamental coins as well. Or at least that's kind of how it's presented Monero when I first joined this market. When I first joined this market, it was like Bitcoin is probably good, Ethereum is maybe good, Monero is also maybe good as well, and then everything else is probably a scam coin. But that's a conditioning that we had coming in from 2016, 2017. Most things were just a fucking garbage test net for Bitcoin essentially. But this one right here, is it putting in some lows right here? Yes, very likely going to trade back up. And then I'd just be looking at long-term ranges as, as that sort of judge of whether this one is actually putting in a macro low or not. Back above 11,306 or just 11, what is this, 11,000, I guess, or 11,300. That looks really, 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 really good for the long term. That's at the point where I'd be looking for this thing to really go on some major runs. I'm talking like 2x runs, shit like that. Back up to your September 2018 highs. But look, man, this thing's just been straight down ever since March 2018. That's not a good sign. There have been several altcoins from 2017 and 2018 that actually did perform rather well in this past segment of the market. Monero is unfortunately not one of them. So yeah. Anyways, let me move on from there and let's see. We got Mr. BK next, says CRV USD. Oh baby, yeah. Let's look at some curve over here. Some curvier enthusiasm, man. This one continues to be one of the more better ones. It's required a lot of patience right here. We basically hit around our $6.50 target. It looks like we got just shy of it, about 6.25. Fair enough. I still look at this one as quite good. Short term is more likely to pull back here or not. To be quite honest with you, I don't know. It's actually still just uptrending right here. It could pull back very easily to like 545. There's no problems with this one. The problems arise below about $4.95 to $5 or so. So short term, can you see a pullback? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, coming back down to those regions is just not problematic. So you got kind of wide ranges right here. Below $4.95 or $5, that's at the point where I do look for this one to go through some more heavier corrections towards about $4.25 to $4.30 or so. Until then, short term, sideways, there's going to be some ebbs and flows. Long term, again, one of the better charts actually, and a quiet one as well. Like it seems like this does not get that much love. Here's the thing: weekly just closed on basically a new all-time high as far as I'm concerned. I don't really look at this price action over here as too relevant, although it even did close above those regions as well. So, if this thing did pull back down to like low $5 or even mid $5, I think that's an opportunity. Long term, this one is just retesting your macro accumulation zone on the highs of about 350. Held it perfectly over here. Yes, it looked sloppy. Yes, it wasn't too convincing at the time, but this is why we go off of ranges and go off of like actual confirmations. And long term, I'm looking at this one as very likely to have a good early 2022. Are the higher term time frame targets still relevant on this one? Yeah, I do believe so. We still have about $7, like the next major one that I'd be looking for. And then, of course, where do I essentially look for that continuation if I'm on a shorter term time frame, as you're kind of suggesting? I guess, and this is not going to be too helpful, and I apologize about this, but this is just the best that I can do for something like this. Back above the highs of this current rally at about 609.5, 610-ish region. I guess I do look for that next move up towards your what was it, 690-ish region, about $7. Yeah, something like that. And then I come back to it after that. Again, long term, I think that this one's setting up for a very, very good early 2022. I only get short term bearish on it, again, below about $5 or $4.95. And I'd only just be looking for another correction to a higher low in your low $4 region after that. Still one of the better charts, man. Just see, what does a 5-day look like on this one as well? Yeah, very, very good. I just wouldn't mind a short term pullback right here. That's kind of the long way of saying it. Apologies if that was a bit wordy, but yeah, one of the better charts here still, man. Has to hold the macro breakout and really closes on new all-time highs for 5-day and weekly in the last 24 hours, which is quite good. Sweet. All right, we see Michael Martin. He says, "Woo, please, sir. 4-hour and daily zero-fee exchange of the future, in my humble opinion." Well, I haven't heard that one before, so let's just sorry, man. I can't help myself, but look, this was like a big sales pitch for a lot of these things. Especially coming out of 2017 and 2018, it's like zero fee trading. It's like, it's probably not zero fees. They're probably getting used some other way. They probably have just like extremely widespread. So whatever. Look, I just haven't seen anything like this actually work out, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, is this one looking good? I guess I don't know. I don't know what the actual question was, but or maybe it's just a bit of a sales pitch. Where does this one actually look like it's set in a big base right here? That'd be above about 108.5. Even on the 4-hour probably does it. Daily, certainly above that region would look quite good. Implying moves back up towards 120 to 120, 1.25 region. And above there, I mean, this one looks like it is putting in a higher low right here, obviously. I mean, it already is a low. Is it a higher low compared to your macro last low? I guess it is. Got hit pretty damn hard on this one. Let's see. How far down did it go? 66.5%. That's the going rate for altcoins, generally speaking. Yeah, 5-day. I mean, this is a higher low right here, so you got to kind of treat it as such. Yeah, it probably does operate quite well in the next couple weeks here. Where does this one start to fall apart in the short-term time frames? That would be below about 87 cents. Below 87 cents, I'd switch around to being short-term, medium-term bearish on this one, looking for moves back down to your 73 to 74 cent base. Until then, just an uptrend right here. Just essentially up and to the right, man. That's all I'm looking for on something like this. Probably does test into that like 110 to 115 region. Above there, yeah, I look for this one to actually go on quite a nice ride towards $1.30 to $1.35 or so, and then come back to it after that. Other than that, I don't really want to make too much more of an analysis on it, just because it's a rather new chart, so not really much to be made on something like this. But yeah, I think that you got a nice low right here, and probably trade a little bit further north of that. Just be aware of where the invalidations are, because if that one does turn down, it's going to be very, very nasty, although it's probably fine right there, to be fair. Again, whatever Bitcoin does, something like this is just going to follow most likely. Let's see. Jack says, could you do Matic BTC 4-hour daily? Yeah, we can do that one. Matic BTC. Okay, let me just take another sip of this. My throat's already getting a little bit scratchy there, which is weird. I haven't really got a good night of sleep last night too. Anyways. Big boy George says, Matic is done, big boy. everything is big boy. Really, really good. Just like the US dollar pairing. Can this one pull back and correct down to like 52.50? Could. I don't have a strong opinion on that, whether it does or doesn't. I'll just be looking at that as an opportunity. Long term, this is, in the midst of a macro breakout. I mean, holy shit, man, this thing, how much did this thing do in 2021? Oh my fucking Lord. That is just insane, man. That is just insane. No wonder people are all about this thing right now. I totally get it. That is an impressive run. Anyways, daily is just trending right now. This is good. It's fucking good, man. Probably looking at a move towards 6,000 or satoshis or so, and I would be looking for a pullback from that region just by retesting your prior all-time highs. After that, I'd really want to see like a higher term time from like a 5-day or a weekly close on new highs, that being above that, I think it was like 6,100 level or so. At which point, do I think that's going to happen? Yes, I do think it's going to happen. Just when's the timing of something like this? I don't know. Long term, this is obviously bullish. Obviously, long term, this is one of the best charts in cryptocurrency land, man. This is really incredible, actually. Let me pull an extension right here. And why is my damn fibs not saving? Okay, there we go. I suppose long term on a breakout of your all-time high, I would be looking for long-term moves. We're probably talking like end of Q1 2022, if I had to guess, somewhere in like the mid 7,000 Satoshi regions, and that'd be the area that I'm looking for in the next major correction. So short term up, I suspect that you do test somewhere around about 6,100, very likely a short-term pullback from there. I'd be looking for a higher low after that point. Where that comes in, it's kind of where we're at right now, or maybe a little bit lower, perhaps as low as 5,000 Satoshis in like a heavy correction, although I don't necessarily think that this thing is doing that, but fair enough. I just have no reason to be bearish on this, especially as long as you're above 4,700 Satoshis. So that, I guess that'd be my validation on something like this. What did I say it was on a weekly that it could correct down to? Let me just double check back on over here. 5,100, 5,100, 4,700. I guess I'll go with 5,700 in this case. On a daily closure, that'd be my validation. Until then, short term up, I'd be looking for pullbacks around this prior high, and then sets it up for very likely a good weekly and monthly closure by extension coming into early 2022. Monthly right here, really fucking good. Really fucking good. Again, this is what you want to see coming into the end of your higher term time frame closures. That is a very good signal. All right, cool. Let me pull up this chatty over here. Let's see. Nels Gaming says, happy holidays, sir. Happy holidays to you as well. Still enjoying the unbiased TA content, keeping us all informed. Hey, man, I'm just, again, I do this as realistically an exercise for myself, man. Anyways, you're looking at HTR, Hathor, 4-hour, 12-hour, and daily. No problem, man. No problem. I think this one was maybe one of the better ones from last week, or was it? I forget. Yeah, I think, that was okay. Yeah, pretty damn good, actually. Actually, really, really good. Okay. Hey, here we go. I'll take it. All right, so what do we have right here? We have yet again another higher low. Crazy, fucking crazy, man. And I'm probably looking for another retest of the highs of this rally from 22nd to 23rd of December. That's around like low $2 region, about 210 or so. Very likely a short-term pullback from there as you are on a 4-hour, so maybe that's relevant towards you. But again, let the trend be your friend in this case. There's absolutely no reason, at least in my opinion, to be bearish on this thing as long as you're above about 170. I guess that would be my validation for a setup like this. Long-term, all higher-term timeframes are generally looking for continuation here into early 2022, I do suspect, assuming that invalidation is not hit. If we go back to the daily, I just want to see this one close above the last highs of this rally, and then I'd be looking for this one to, I'm guessing, retest all-time highs. Yeah, and that would be on a wick base about 250 or so. And long term, this is generally good. It corrects heavy, but I guess it's an altcoin at the end of the day, and hold these higher lows, which is good. And well, up and to the right is probably the name of the game on this one. So short term, again, looking for a little bit more continuation. Invalidation was at, what was it, 250 or 270? 170 on a 4-hour closure, especially at daily as well. Until then, short term up, looking for a little bit of a short-term correction around your prior highs of this rally, and then very likely on any sort of a daily closure or even a 4-hour closure above that past high at like 210. I'm looking for this one to probably bulldoze this way, bust on through towards prior highs at about 240 to 250 or so. Sets it up very likely for a very good early 2022. Again, this is really, really good to see coming into the end of the year right here. So yeah. Let me just double check over here. Okay, good. All right, nice. We have Mr. Lucas J. Or sorry, no, we have Crypto King next. What's up, Crypto King? You're the king of crypto? Holy shit. Please tell me how I can meet you. Well, I live in Helsinki, and if you're not like any sort of a murderer, rapist, or crazy person, I'm down to meet. But am I down to mate? I don't know. Meaning he was on my bucket list. Dude, I'm just a fucking person, man. I'm not like I'm pretty unimpressive in real life, man. So one guy called me out like a week or two ago. He saw me on the street, and I'm sure like if you asked him, he'd just be like, yeah, he's kind of short and wears weird clothes. That's probably what he'd say. Like, I'm not that interesting of a person, man. I just get very single-minded about shit like this, which is in this case, in this portion of my life, cryptocurrencies and trading. Anyways, Lucas J says, "How can I get your thoughts on PGX? Not a long history." Oh dear Lord, I'm guessing this is a crypto. Then I was hoping it was going to be a stonk. Okay, there is no crypto with the name PGX here. So maybe you're talking about this, Invesco. Let's see. I'm guessing you're not talking about this because this has a very long history. So I'm going to guess that, yeah, this is not on TradingView, man. If you are talking about this thing, though, very unimpressive chart, to be honest with you. But I do think it's put in a base right here and probably is trading back up towards 15, maybe 15 to about 15 and a quarter or so. But I suspect that you're probably not asking about this. I think that you're probably asking about some sort of nameless altcoin, which I do not find here. All right, cool. We got Tuggy Peppas. He says, please give me your opinion on Cube and ACLX charts, just one at a time, as we humbly ask in the chat request there, which no one reads, but fair enough. Anyways, Cube, USD, Somnium Space Cubes. All right. This sounds like something that's definitely worth investing in. And what do we have right here? We have a parabolic blow off top, immediately gives it up in the next few weeks. Hold on, let's go down to a daily maybe. Short term is a bouncy. Yep, I do think that this one trades back up towards $13 or so. However, I would refrain from getting excited about this thing doing anything, impressive towards the upside, meaning like, talking about like testing per optimize and very likely making new optimize as long as you're below 15 and 40 cents. I think at best you're going to be going sideways for a while in a range like this, which is a fucking massive range, but you got it. I guess you kind of have to be okay with that if you're going to trade a very new and nascent asset like this, I guess, or even if, I don't even know if it's a fucking asset, but something like this, what you're probably looking at for a while, and then maybe gives a try to the upside. Above 1540 is like the very, very good area. Below 669, and this one gets sent back to its deathbed where it probably does belong, but fair enough. In this market, it's very forgiving right now, and I think that the market in general has another maybe like 3 months or so. Assuming that fiscal situation doesn't really change in the U.S. specifically, and the EU as well. But I guess this would be the hoping right here. Above 1540 good, below 669 bad. Until then, short term is up. Probably looking at a move towards $13 or so. Doesn't really mean much for the long term, however. Let's see. Nimai says, Merry Christmas. Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well. And happy birthday to Elsa. Sweet. Metis versus Wrapped Ethereum, please, on the 4 hour and daily. When you think the next pullback might be? I'm guessing you mean specific to those time frames. So let's double check, I guess. Let's go over here to Uniswap. This one's just breaking out right now, so probably not anytime soon before you do hit your next major area of interest. The upside is about 4.2 million butyrols, or I don't know what that number is. 420, that number right there. Probably looking at a bit of a pullback from there, and plays out a range between that area and this 0.033 base that you actually just spiked down towards on today's dildo. But do we see the same thing over here? Yeah, we do actually. If you're on a 4 hour, short term does a pullback down towards like 0.03. Somewhere around there, between about 0.25 to 0.03, maybe yes. But this one's a breakout right now on the higher term time frames. So I don't like to be too generous or too aggressive on the lower term time frames during those times. So maybe I'm being a little bit too conservative on my pullback targets there. Let's see, what about the weekly? Yeah, the weekly just closed on new ultimate, man. I expect that this one probably guns for some new ultimates first and then plays out its major correction down after hitting somewhere around this area right here at the 0.0420-ish region. Yeah, something like that. If you do correct first before continuation, how will you know? I'd be looking at this area right here, 0.0325, as a bit of like a validation of that, and I'd be looking for corrections down somewhere around your breakout area, which is coming in from about 0.027 to 0.0285 region. Something like that. So I actually don't really have a great idea on this. If I had to call it right now, do I think it's topping out short term right here? Putting in a short term top right here, but I don't know if that's relevant towards you. If you're on the daily, I don't think it's topped out. Yeah, I don't think it's topped out. I'd only call like a failure on this one and like a major top below about 0.027 on a daily closure. That would look pretty fucking bad and imply moves back down towards like 0.207 region long term, which would be fucking devastating. But yeah, not bad right there, to be fair. Cool. Cryptogenesis TV, welcome to the cave, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you as well. Let's see. Let me just make sure that I'm on the right comments over here. Yes, I think we are. Okay, beautiful. Anyways, we are at Mr. Jonathan Trentwell. And by the way, we will have to shut off the comments, I think maybe somewhat soon, just because I don't want them to build up too much. I want to make sure that all the people who have already commented get their comments read. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it would be a good idea to close them down now. No. Okay, yeah, because there's still quite a few on the board here. Anyways, Jonathan Trentwell says, spell perp on FTX 1 and 4 hour. Okay, spell perp. All right, okay. It's a new one. Yeah, definitely a new chart right here. Let's go to a 4 hour as you requested. 4 hour. A little bit of a range going on right now, and I guess you do kind of treat it as a somewhat healthiest consolidation as long as you're above about 0.02. Is this? Yeah, this is so basically like 2 cents or so. Closing below there, and I would look for this one to correct heavily down towards 1.75 or so, 1.75 to 1.8 cent. Until then, should be looking at this as a bit of a base scenario and probably does something like this, I guess. And then maybe gives another try to the upside. We do see that 4 hour BBWP is on the floor here. 4 hour RSI is seemingly rejecting the bearish control zones. So these are, more or less pointed towards an upside resolution of this after maybe a little bit more sideways. Hourly is, of course, giving us some regular bullish evidence come off that last low, but short term, actually the hourly is getting this one better than the 4 hour, to be quite honest with you. And the hourly range lows is the same thing at about 2 cents, let's call it. Closure below there, and I would look for this one to correct heavily towards about 1.8 cent, maybe a little bit lower than that. And a range resolution above about 2.35 cent very likely does begin another test up towards 2.5 cent, maybe even the highs of this rally, and sets it up for a I don't think that we need to go further than that. This is again a really new chart, and that's all that you asked about. So fair enough. I think I'll just leave it right there. Yeah, I'll pin your message right now. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Thank you for that. Good thinking. Okay, we have Mr. W and C next. Says, hello, sir. Thank you for your time, man. All good. I became more gay for TA every time you pop up on my goddamn screen. Nice. I can be the face of gay for TA. Life is confirmed. Great. Ecomi, OMI, daily and weekly. Sure. OMI, USD. Okay. And you're looking at a what? Daily and weekly higher term time frames on this one. Yeah, not bad right here. Setting in a base right above about, what is this, 0.6 of a cent. So that'd be my invalidation for short-term bullishness on this one. I just see a higher low and a bit of a short-term reversal. I'd like to see this one actually close above its current range highs, which is 6.8 of a cent. At that point, I do look for this one to essentially retest around your, I'm guessing, oh, actually, no, not your all-time highs, but the highs of this rally from November, somewhere around about 7.5 to 8.1. And that's going to, again, probably set it up for a good early 2022, if I had to guess. Weekly, same thing over here. Looks like another higher low to me. Very likely trading up from here. Where's an invalidation on this one? Very simply put, below 0.6 of a cent. Yeah, on both those timeframes. Below there on a daily closure, I look for this one to, at minimum test like 5.5 of a cent and probably come all the way back down to 0.5 of a cent even. But for right now, showing a lot better signs than not. Very low volatility right here as well. So we're probably looking at a resolution of this one maybe in the next week. Looks okay. Again, assuming that Bitcoin kind of plays ball here as well. Bitcoin, you're gonna play at a little bit of a short-term downside move here first, maybe. The TA is all sold out. Yeah, there you go. We're done, baby. Bongo Cat says, let me just make sure that that's the right one. Reach is next. He says, thanks for tuning in on during the holidays. Hey man, this is my passion. So I don't it's a passion and then also discipline with this, but I truly enjoy doing it, man. So it's really no major issue, man. I don't believe in days off. Like days off is a bunch of bullshit in my opinion. Anyways, wondering if you can do daily and weekly on AXS. Yeah, this one would be one worth certainly following up on. This is Axie Infinity, one of the best performing assets in the year 2021. Going through its little correction right here, but I do like what it's doing for the time being. And in fact, should I record this one? Let me see how many videos I got and maybe record this one because it's quite interesting right there. I think actually I have too many videos for today already, so fair enough. Anyways, you know, I wouldn't mind another move back down somewhere around your 21, which is a $100 base. I'm generally looking at this as another higher low. However, we do have hidden bullish divergence on the same tip, and we do have very low weekly volatility here as well. So this is, you know, again, a good long-term setup, not necessarily short-term. I don't think that is going to be resolved like today or tomorrow or this week or this month, as we only really have a few days left in this month. But short-term, I would kind of chart it like this in the sense that below 103.40, I do look for this one to retest its current lows just below $100 and try for a more complex low. However, I wouldn't even really be focusing on the daily right here. So weekly, that's a lot more obvious. In the weekly, yeah, let's just synthesize this down to the weekly. Look, you might play at another test just below $100 or so. That's not problematic. I only look at this as a failed higher low if you do start to close daily dildos below about $90 range lows. Below there, I do look for this one to correct heavily towards about 70 to basically $70. Until then, I'm just looking for a bit of short-term sideways right here. Where's your weekly range or your daily range resolution? That's going to be back above about 124.5. Above there, I do look for this one to retest somewhere around about $1.45 to $1.50 and sets it up again for very likely a good early 2022. My main disposition here, or what I'm less like convinced of, is that it continues exactly from its current area right here. So if I did have to trade the daily, I would be using about $1.03. Yeah, about $1.03 on a 12-hour or daily, or even a 6-hour in this case, to kind of judge if this one's likely to retest the lows first, or if it's likely to continue here. Until then, I should be looking at this one as more likely to continue from this current region rather than correct down first. But again, that would be decided below about $1.03 on this one. Until then, you know, it's a good setup for the long term. Just I don't think it's going to be doing anything super interesting like right now, for example. But the setup is there long term. I expect that this one does have a good early 2022. Just, you know, takes its time right here. Hopefully that's helpful, sir. Let's see. Let me just double check over here. Okay, beautiful. Nice. Let's see. We got WNC next. Says, hello, sir. Oh, no, we just did that one. Sorry about that. Bongo Cat. Nice name. Can we look at the chart of MBS? It's a game token on Solana that's been doing fairly well, and the game isn't even out yet. Okay. All right. Monkey ball, monkey ball, huh? It's definitely doing well. I don't really have a chart for this one. It's only been out for a week, so that's not going to be too helpful. I don't have a good faith opinion to give you on this, man. I should say I do not know, because I do not know, especially on something like this. I can tell you on an hourly where I'd start to look at this one as bad, and that would be obviously below about 220. Below 220, I look for this one to correct heavily. Until then, short term up and to the right, but we're looking at a fucking hourly on a chart that hasn't even been around for, you know, more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working on literally day number 7 right now. So I really don't have a good opinion on that, man. But I'd agree with you. I mean, it has been doing well. There's not really much to make out of that, man. Not from a TA perspective, at least from the way that I do things. So apologies on that, man, but that's the best that I can do. Let me just polish off this water over here. Whew. Actually, I just want to call out this question really, really quickly here, because it's actually a really, really good question. Hey, Guvin, no, we have not overlooked your super chat. It's just it's like we have to do these in orders of value, so it's going to be a little bit later as you have a lot of people in front of you. But Ian Timponi says, hey, Krown, I'm curious why you don't trade breakouts. The reason why I don't trade breakouts is because I'm a little bit more risk averse than probably the average person when it comes to trading, and most breakouts fail. And if you're going to be trading breakouts, you're going to be taking a lot of, you know, typically losses on failed breakouts. That's just the short and narrow of it. I prefer to trade ranges, or I prefer to trade trends. In fact, more recently, trading trends has actually been a lot better to me, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, nothing more than that, man. Let's see, we got Sean Guy Dudes. He says, good morning from New Jersey. Hey, good morning to you, man. You must be late as all hell right there. Could check out MTV daily and weekly chart. Sure. This is multivac and multipass. There we go. Good short term. Probably putting in a bit of a base here. Just want to see it close above about $1.25, and I'd be looking for this one to move its way up to about $1.50 right here. And again, long term, you know, it's sloppy as all hell, being that it is an altcoin, but it holds its higher lows long term. Yeah, it corrects fucking heavily, but I guess that's why people love their altcoins. Per speak, if I had to call it right now, yeah, I do think that you're going to test around about 1.5 cent. That's kind of like your next major level above 1.5 cent right here, or yeah, basically 1.5 cent right there. Let me just get rid of this. It's an eyesore, although it is technically correct. Above 1.5 cent, I do look for this one to go on a big run, actually, towards just under 2 cents or so. And personally speaking, I think that's probably happening from here. Again, assuming that Bitcoin continues from $52,000, which, you know, doesn't need to necessarily happen today, but if and when it does happen, that's at the point where I'd be looking for this one to really be a big beneficiary of that. But yeah, you know, bit of a sloppy altcoin, but putting in a nice base here. I do think that this one will very likely test 1.5 cent though in the coming weeks, maybe even sooner rather than later. Let's see. Mohammed Sibathi says, "Happy holidays." Hey, happy holidays to you as well, man. Can you look at ANT? Yeah, long term. So this is a 2017 coin that actually did really, really well, if I recall. Yeah, more recently here. Long term, really fucking good, man. Really, really good here. So you're already retesting pretty much your all-time highs on a wick basis. That being about 1135. That would be sort of my closing basis for judging the next, you know, macro continuation rally. In this case, I'm guessing we can pull up some interesting targets for the long term. Let's see what they are. I guess, you know, upon validation above that region, I would be looking for this one to mosey its way on over to about 15 to probably more like 16 and a half to $17 long term, which is what you are specifically asking. It sounds like monthly is rallying into the end of the year here, which is a really good sign. I always really like to see something like this. That is actually a really excellent sign for early 2022 yet again. I know you didn't ask about a daily, or you probably don't care about a daily if you are focused on the long term, but I would invalidate this, as I always need to give out a condition for that, just because, you know, then I feel better below about 780 on a daily closure. Until then, really setting up well for an early 2022, man. Just want to see it above about 11.5 on a weekly closure. And then, yeah, I look for this one to, you know, do more of what it has been doing, which is generally going up and to the right. And this is what the real chart looks like, obviously. This is one healthy long-term macro consolidation. Again, assuming you remain above about 680. Really fucking good there. Did I say 680 or 7? Let's say 7.25. Daily, weekly versus, daily level versus weekly level right there. Let's see. Nick E. Oh, clever, man. Has PETA tried to go after Santa yet? I don't know. Oh, is it the whole reindeer thing? Is he putting them to work? I don't know. But if Santa ain't wearing a fucking mask and social distancing going into everyone's chimneys and shit, then there's going to be, I'm going to write a mean letter and not send it. Nuke Tech says, you're looking at one. I apologize. I didn't even look at your request right there. Apologies on that one, ma'am. Harmony on the daily and weekly. Another pretty damn good chart right here. I remember this one was looking strong coming into the end of last week, and it is remaining strong right here. Looking for this one to continue up towards basically the highs of what you saw in late November, somewhere around about low 30 cent region. That's the next major macro level, at least in my opinion right here. It's your last lower high, so above about 33.5 cent on a daily closure. Look for this one to make new all-time highs. You know, can we come up with some targets in mind? I'm just going to do like a bad drawing right here, but I'd be looking somewhere around about $1 actually upon validation above there. Invalidation of your short-term bullish setup is not going to be too helpful because you're literally breaking out right now, but it's going to be below about 24 cents. 24 cents would be very concerning. Weekly, good. You know, all of this just up and to the right, baby. That's what we like to see. Hidden bullish evidence on the weekly RSI. Volatility very, very low right there as well. So likely continuation, assuming that Bitcoin plays ball there. Nuke Tech says FTM3L. Okay, it's a new one. FTM3L. Oh wow. They have a 3x long. Oh my god. Sam, what have you done, man? What have you fucking done? I don't have an opinion on a chart like this, man. It's a little bit too new. It's just generally gone down. But these charts, these will operate very weirdly because I'm guessing it's a 3x long on either FTX token or on Bitcoin. That I don't know. Actually, that would actually be rather important to know. Anyways, if I did have charted out the short-term timeframes, I guess I am bullish and looking at this as a breakout as long as above 81 cents with targets up towards $2.50 or so. Not very helpful right there, but a very new chart to be fair. Let's see. We have Mr. Nico KZN. He says Bitcoin dominance on the 2-week and the weekly. I can look at this, man. I don't think that Bitcoin dominance is a relevant metric, to be honest with you. I think that there's much better ways to be looking at something like this. If you're looking at Bitcoin dominance, it technically is in a descending triangle. If you're on a bi-weekly, same shit. Probably bounce off this level at least one more time before resolution of this, but I do not trust the Bitcoin dominance chart. Should be looking at things in terms of sectors now, which we are slowly getting, like DeFi perps and alt perps and and shit perps and shit like that, that would be a lot more relevant. So yeah, can you check out Ray USD on the 3-day and the daily? Why do people like the 3-day? The 3-day does not have very good results from my back testing, but fair enough, I can look at it for you. Daily, short term breakout would be confirmed above about $8 even, with targets up towards $9. Until then, a little bit of a laggard here, a little bit relatively weak. If Bitcoin shows weakness, this one, or if Bitcoin trades back down to like low 50,000, you probably find this one back down around about 7.25. So wouldn't necessarily get bearish on it as long as you're above your prior range lows, which is $7 even, but can play out more of a sideways right here, assuming that you don't clear above $8. Above $8, so I do look for this one to go for a nice rally, with targets up, like I said, to about $9. 3-day, I guess we can quickly do it. It won't even load. Yeah, no, not standing on a strong leg there on the 3-day, I would say, but I suspect that you probably do test around $9 or so. The question is when. Well, just want to see it take out $8. That's basically my analysis for that one, man. Again, a little bit of a weird one right there. 1 BTC says HFIFM. Okay, we already looked at it versus the dollar, but we can definitely look at it versus the Bitcoin. Very good. Very, very good here. Very likely going to test your prior highs of this rally at about 600 Satoshis, I'm guessing. Yeah, 600 Satoshis right there. Weekly. Oh, weekly is phenomenal. Hidden bullish evidence, very low volatility. This one very likely guns for some new all-time highs in the following weeks. Where'd my invalidation be on bullishness here? Below 480. Below 480, invalidates pretty much everything and looks ugly. Until then, doesn't need to be anything more complicated than this, and could make some upside targets here, somewhere around about 800 on your new all-time high breakout. That's what I'd be looking for. Cool. Let's see. We have DJ Tingyong. Very, very exotic name there. Matic is an Ethereum layer 2 that a lot of NFT and game projects are building on due to Ethereum V1's gas issues. Interesting. Well, whatever it is, looks good. Look good, man. Looks pretty damn good. John Wade says Sol USD daily hourly. Okay. Sol US derp. Okay. Phantasma. LARP line still working, baby. LARP line still working. Hey, also, after I read out the comments, can you give me like just a little bit, leaving them up in the future? Yeah, it's not a big deal. I got that one, but I think you said like an hourly and a daily or something. Anyways, it's going to be more or less the same thing here. We could actually move down the upside resolution of this one towards 276 on a daily closure. If you're on a 4-hour, same thing. Above there, I do look for this one to retest about $3.50. Short term, uptrending. I do look at this one as short term, likely to test back around your 24th of December highs at 258, 259 region, as long as you, or basically as long as you don't hit invalidation, which is below about 230, let's call it. Yeah, below about 230 on a 4-hour closure. Until then, hidden bullish evidence, volatility on the low side. Generally has a nice little short-term reversal right here, probably trading back up short-term, 255 to 260 region, somewhere around there. Long-term, can't get excited about it as long as you are below 278, and it wouldn't be like doomsday on it as well, as long as you're above about 193. Cool. All right, let's see. JT32 says MicroStrategy. Okay. All right. Yeah, MicroStrategy over here. On NAS, what time frames, man? Daily and weekly. Gotcha. Daily putting in a nice low, as you would expect, because it probably trades somewhat similarly to Bitcoin, and I would be looking for short term today to trade back up to 620, and then more medium term to trade back up towards about 660 to 670-ish region. Long term, this is shaping up to be, I think it's shaping up to be a reaccumulation long term. You're probably looking at something like this in the most basic of senses. There's your highs. There's your rise and bottoms. Short term, very likely test somewhere around, your 660 to 670-ish region. After that, I don't really have a strong opinion. I think that you're just going to be consolidating within this region for a long time. Probably looking at a breakout sometime around end of Q1 of 2022, and that would be confirmed with any sort of a weekly closure on new highs above about 890 or so, with obviously testing prior all-time highs after that, and then very likely making new all-time highs. In fact, you can make a measured move on something like this, which would imply actually just to retest your all-time highs, but probably leads towards long-term continuation. Obviously going to be bearish below not last week's low, but the week prior to that, which is 528. 528. Cool. Crypto Genesis TV, he's back 88 USD for our daily weekly. Just one, man, just again, one at a time. Humbly request that. Otherwise, these streams get a little bit too long. My voice is already failing me. Anyways, you're looking at a weekly and a daily right here, I'm guessing. Yeah, daily and weekly. Short term can correct down to 13 1330, and that wouldn't be an issue. Long term, this is quite a good chart right here. We do have another higher low. Probably does gun for another test up towards 20 to 23 after maybe a short-term correction. If we go to a daily, yeah, I'd probably look for this one to maybe trade back down towards that towards that prior base. It wouldn't be problematic. In fact, maybe I'm being a little bit too aggressive on this one. What I should be saying is that this one is, well, I kind of do think that this one does pull back a little bit short term. I just don't know if that's relevant to you or not. If I'm on a daily or weekly, most likely over the next few weeks, this one will test back up around your range highs, which is like 23 and a half region. And obviously a break above there, this thing guns for new all-time highs. I just think that there could very easily be a short-term correction down to about $13.5 to $14. And then obviously going to be invalidated on your long-term bullish setup below, should we say 13? Yeah, we could say 13 on a daily closure. So yeah, Ellison Gus says, lovely Luna on a daily and 4 hour. Hey, no one's asked about Luna, and Luna is, I think it's like among the best ones with Matic as well. Yeah, there we go. Starting to look a little bit toppy here. However, did hit our $100 target a few times, 105, 106 region. Yeah, it does look like it's kind of in for a little bit of a short-term correction here. If you're on a daily and weekly, 4 hour, multiple drives of bearish divergence come off that last high. Weekly, how do we close the week out? Pretty damn good. Short term, a little bit of correction here, maybe down to 80, maybe $87 to $90 or so. I don't think that this one's actually seen its highs just yet, though. I still think that this one trades up towards about $1.20. It was, yeah, somewhere between about $1.20 and $1.30 before it puts in the next like major high. That is leading towards the next major consolidation. Until then, just short term, maybe a bit correction here down to like maybe $90. I would not be bearish on this thing at all whatsoever, especially as long as it's above 85 on a daily closing basis. This thing is just, you know, higher highs and higher lows the whole way through. Yeah, in case if you're wondering why the newer super chats aren't being read, is because we closed the super chats about 30 minutes ago, and there is a pinned message in the chatties there suggesting that, and we do have to be a little more stringent with that rule. All right, cool. I'll run through the rest of these chats here. We're almost done now. We have Dan Dea next. He says, "Hey Krown, hey man, yeah, the holiday's been pretty damn nice. Can you check out Ethereum and Ethereum Bitcoin again?" We did both of those, so we're good there. Nice. I think Daniel Garcia is next after that. He says Gala USD. Yes, we can definitely do that. This is another MetaDerp coin, and what do we have here? Looking good actually. This one very likely gonna continue up towards about 58, 59 cents or so. Again, long term, it's kind of the same thing as, you know, what we've been speaking about before. Can't get too excited about this one. You know, retest and optimize and very likely making new optimize as long as you're below about 64 cents or so. Above there, I basically look for pretty much that. Short term, looking for continuation. Again, good. Daily RSI rejection the bearish controls and back up. Volatility expanding, all good. All good shit right there. 4 hour, same thing as well, man. I only invalidate short term bullishness below about 48.5 cents until then. Good. Even has a little bit of a short term range breakout right there. So very likely testing the top of the daily range, and well, personally, I think that you do go a little more sideways for the long term. Anyways, Ethereum Classic to the Moon is asking for Ethereum Classic, please. Sure. Very strong username to post content ratio, bro. Can't promise that you're gonna like my analysis on this one though. Definitely a laggard, definitely relatively weak. But if the rest of the market moves up, is this thing not gonna follow the rest of the market? Obviously, probably is. You know, where's your next major area of interest to the upside? It's going to be 41.35. Above there, I do look for this one to go on a nice run. And when I say a nice run, I mean with targets back up towards the shallow 50s. Until then, you know, this one definitely not strong on its own. If Bitcoin shows any sort of weakness short term, you probably see this one correct back down to like mid 30s. But you could actually make a bit of a range on this one, even on the short term, which is rather well defined. So below about $37, I would invalidate short term somewhat bullish setup, although it is rather sloppy. 4 hour closure above about 38.44, and I do look for this one to short term have a move back up towards 40 and a quarter there. Again, can't get too excited about this one below about $43, but you know, if Bitcoin trades up past 52,000, you're probably going to see this thing take out that region and then trade back up towards shallow 50s and come back to it after that. Below $37, I do look for this one correct back down towards 35, maybe even a little bit lower than that. Yeah, not the strongest or most inspiring chart of all time on its own, that's for sure. Cool. Okay, we got that. We got Miguel Alvarez next. He says, Senor. Hello, Senor, mi amigo. MCX USD, short-term, MCX, short-term, medium-term, or short-term. All right. There ain't no MCX, sir. Unless you're talking about this. I'm guessing not. If you're using Senor. Maybe. No. I don't, if you're talking about a crypto, then it's not on here. If you're talking about a stock, then I don't know which one you're looking at because there's a bunch of different exchanges here showing the same thing. So if you could tag Elsa and let her know which one that you're looking for. If it is a crypto though, we cannot pull it up. It is not on TradingView. Let's see. We got Magic Turtle next. It says STX daily and weekly. Okay, STX. I know that TradingView has this one. Stacks. Pretty good. Pretty good. Looking for a move back up towards 285. Generally an uptrend right here. Yeah, very, very good. Weekly, same thing. It was MCX. MCX, I think it was. Oh, it's MXE. Okay, I'll scroll back to that in a second here. Any sort of a weekly closure above 285, 289, and I'm looking for this one to be sent towards significantly new all-time highs. I guess I already have it over here, and that would be with long-term targets towards $4.50 to $5 or so. What was it, MCX or MXC? Sir? MXC. Okay. All right, here it is. MXC token on Coin. Actually good. Actually pretty good. Getting a bit of, I got it. Short-term pullbacks to like just below 6 cents are completely fine. This one's actually in a bit of a breakout right here. So I would have an invalidation below about like 5.9 cents, let's say, on a 4-hour closure until then. Short-term a bit of sideways here, but I do expect that this one continues on with the general breakout. Just a nice asset that's trading up and to the right. Kind of, but short-term a bit of a pullback, bit of sideways right there, assuming that 5.9 cents is not, is not closed below on a 4-hour. I would be looking at this one as very likely to set in a higher low somewhere around there and try for another high on this rally in the following week. Cool. We got that. Goovin, now you're next. All right, sweet. Raka, you're literally actually last of the day, I think. Raka, Radio Kaka? Is this a real thing? All right. Okay. Radio Kaka. All right. Poloniex and CoinEx. What the fuck is this CoinEx thing? Is that like the new shitcoin exchange? Maybe we actually try that one. It has more history, so that's fair enough. What time frames was you looking at? I don't even know. Because I also deleted it too fast. Anyways, it didn't have a time frame. All right. So you do have a bit of a daily range going on right here. What's your daily range? Between 3.2 tenths of a cent and 4.35 tenths of a cent to the upside. Just won't have any sort of obvious signal on the 4-hour. Actually, the 4-hour is a little more clean here. Look, any sort of a closure above this region right here, and I'm looking for this one to go on a nice rally towards 5 tenths of a cent. Very big problems below about 3.2 tenths of a cent. At that point, I am looking for big moves down somewhere around here, somewhere around about 2.8 tenths of a cent or so. Until then, do you have any sort of bias on this one? Not really, honestly. Just kind of a sloppy altcoin, it looks like. But I'll just be looking for range resolutions. Well, on a very short-term time frame, like an hourly, I'd be looking at 3.82 as an upside resolution with targets back up towards the top side of this range at like 4.36. And personally speaking, I do think that this one is probably more likely to test the upside than the downside short-term, but not really running off of much. And whatever direction Bitcoin goes, that one probably runs off of that, as it doesn't look like it's too strong on its own. But I think that's going to be it for today. Holy moly, man, just squeaked by on that one with my voice there. God damn. All right, well, fair enough, man. It's been a fun little Monday morning, a new week, almost heading into the end of this year right here. It's been a fucking crazy year this year. Been a fucking crazy year, no doubt about that. So, with all of that in mind, with all of that said, I think it's time for me to wish you the best yet again. It's been an absolute pleasure on this little Monday morning. Please stay safe, stay strapped in. Strap up. What's that? Strap up, baby. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, I'm gonna be signing off now. I want to wish you well, and we'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream analysis and a few more video uploads from this morning later today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build